Let's now get you some updates from what is happening in the Russia-Ukraine war, wherein a dramatic attack that is said to have pierced at least about 10 to 15 kilometers inside of the Russian territory. The Ukrainian forces, who are backed by tanks and armored vehicles, are carrying out an incursion into Russia's Kursk region for the third straight day. Now, Moscow, on the face of it, claims that it is in control of the situation and is thwarting the Ukrainian advances. But reports from the ground indicate that there is intense fighting that is still ongoing. So the question is this: what is happening in the Russian region of Kursk at the moment? Our next report gets you the details.
Ukraine has launched what appears to be one of the most daring and large-scale assaults on Russian soil, sending shock waves through the Kremlin. The operation, the scale of its attack, is unprecedented. Ukrainian forces reportedly breached Russia's southern border on Tuesday, penetrating deep into the Kursk region.
Everyone can see that the Ukrainian army knows how to surprise and knows how to achieve results. This is demonstrated by the battlefield, where our soldiers not only withstood the overwhelming force of the occupiers, but also are destroying it in the way necessary to protect Ukraine, our state, and independence.
The scale of the operation is truly staggering, with reports of over 1,000 Ukrainian troops pressing ahead with the incursion that has caught both Moscow and its Western allies off guard.
So we're going to reach out to the Ukrainian military to learn more about their objectives. As far as the specifics on that, I would refer you to the Ukrainians to speak about their own military operations.
We think that Ukraine is fighting a legitimate defensive war against an illegal aggression. And in the framework of this legitimate right to defend itself, Ukraine is entitled to hit the enemy wherever it finds necessary on its territory, but also on the territory of the enemy.
The Russian Defense Ministry claims it has launched a strong counter-offensive and destroying 82 armored vehicles, including 8 tanks. Nevertheless, the incursion has forced Russia to evacuate thousands of civilians from the affected areas. As Moscow vows a strong retaliation, analysts speculate Ukraine's assault may be a strategic move to draw Russian resources away from critical front lines such as Kharkiv, to demoralize the Russian military and civilian population. Some experts even suggest that if Ukraine can hold on to the captured territory, it could gain significant leverage in any future peace negotiations. With the US presidential election looming and the potential for a shift in American support, depending on the outcome, Ukraine is under immense pressure to secure decisive victories. The latest incursion into Russian territory could be a key determinant in shaping the future course of the conflict.
All right, so these are some pretty dramatic developments that are witnessing in the Russia-Ukraine war. And to help give us more perspective on this, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who is a military expert and also a host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive, and he's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Colonel Davis, this is an interesting turn of events that is happening. What we are looking at is a Ukrainian incursion into the Russian territory of Kursk, which is said to have gone as deep as about 15 kilometers. So it's pretty substantial. Do you think the Ukrainians could have done it without the Americans actually backing this incursion by the Ukrainians into Russian territory?
I think it's probably some of the reports coming out are accurate that Ukraine did this on their own, that they didn't get anything specific in terms of, I guess, actionable intelligence from the United States side. They may have, but really, I think we need to keep things in perspective here. I know that this is a big morale boost for the Ukraine side, but in the bigger picture, it's very unlikely that this has any lasting results. Because, I mean, you're talking about at least what's being reported is maybe 1,000 Ukraine soldiers, maybe 100 or maybe even more of armored vehicles. But when you're talking about a front line that's over 600 kilometers and 500,000 to 600,000 Russian troops, another 200,000 to 300,000 not yet in contact, you see that this is actually a relatively small thing. Now, I think that the Ukraine side did this to score a media victory to make it look like that they're actually doing things, and it is no question caught Russia by surprise. They did not expect it. Their defenses were not that strong in this area, and that's why they were able to make a fairly deep incursion. But the question is, can they sustain it? And it seems pretty unlikely that they will be able to. Most likely, Russia will then send some reinforcements from elsewhere up in that region to push it back, and it's militarily speaking, this probably won't be that significant.
You're saying it's not going to be significant militarily, but what message is Ukraine trying to send out? Because Ukraine is quite clearly short of weapons. Things can change in the White House, which would mean that the Ukrainians cannot have the American back. So what is it that Volodymyr Zelensky is trying to achieve with this incursion?
Well, I think probably what he's trying to achieve is to show, hey, we still have some fight left in us. We can still do some things. And so look here. But here's the problem. Russia is also continuing to move on the main line of contact in the east, especially in the Pokrovsk area, where they have made substantial gains in the last month or so and picking up steam in here. That is a far more important issue, because if Ukraine loses the Pokrovsk area, that will almost sever some of the main north-south communications and logistics lines. And then it'll also represent the last main line of defense they have. And if Russia continues to press there, they could then break into area where there aren't prepared defensive positions. And that's a big, big problem. So this issue back up in the Kursk region could be forgotten pretty quickly if they break through there.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us and getting us those insights there. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.